Misha Kadigasha, and on behalf of Oakland Unified School District, I'm excited to bring everyone together to honor and recognize the hard work and dedication by West Oakland Middle School students and staff. West Oakland Middle School participated in OUSD's district and citywide attendance campaign for the month of November. The theme was connecting the effects of gratitude and the desire for people wanting to show up and attend. With this, West Oakland Middle School had the largest increase in attendance in the month of November, and for that, we as a community need to lift them up. So, great job, folks.
Thank you.
Our special guest is the East Bay's very own Rexx Raj. With songs like State of Mind and Canvas, Rexx Raj has been an inspiration to his followers. One of them stated, and I quote, "I always appreciated the positivity that he puts, we choose to handle them, that makes a difference." And this was a common theme throughout his music. And with that, I would like to welcome Rexx Raj and have him recognize Ms. Umat, Ms. Wright Davis, Mr. Jackson, the attendance team at West Oakland Middle School, and the entire West Oakland Middle School students and staff. Mr. Raj.
Man, thank you guys for having me. Like you said, I go by Rexx Raj. I'm from Berkeley, California, and I have the pleasure today of giving you guys the award for attendance for the month of November. And to me, that's a really big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, through all the obstacles, I know, life is a lot different for you guys with everything going on, but you still manage to show up every day. And I think that that's beautiful. And, I'm happy for you. I know the school is happy for you. The whole district is happy for you. We're here celebrating you guys today. So right on, good job to you guys. And now I'm going to turn it over to Miss Umat.
I really appreciate the recognition, and I do think that our students who are here, we've invited our students who've had perfect attendance and have been super dedicated to being in class every day. They're also just leaders and role models for their peers. They're really on top of what they need to do, which, like you said, is very challenging during this time.
Awesome. Thank you, Miss Umat. Miss Umat, did you get the traveling trophy? Anything you want to floss it?
This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I feel like Flavor Flav. This is
Flavor.
This is awesome.
That's OUSD traveling attendance trophy. It's the first year in place, and now that trophy is living around Miss Umat's neck with West Oakland Middle School. So great job, and thank you, Miss Umat.
Thank you. This is too cool.
You're not allowed to take that off until it goes to the next school, like ever. Yeah. You've got to keep it on until it goes to the next school.
I'm just trying to keep it safe. My kids were all about it. I'm like, you guys do not touch this. This is going to all these other schools because they were just so into it.
Yeah. And Mr. Raj, for our young people, maybe sharing, what does showing up every day mean to you?
Showing up every day to me means just that, and it's just coming and being prepared to be the best that you can, because I feel like it's one of those things for all the young kids listening. It's one of those things that you'll really recognize later in life. You show up every day and you put the work in, and when you put the work in, the results pay off, but you got to be consistent in showing up every day. And it also shows the people around you that you care. By showing up every day, you're an example of, oh, this person cares about what we're doing. They're here every day, even on the days they don't want to be here. Those are the biggest days. You need to show up on days you don't feel like going, or days you don't feel like being there. In college, we called it slaying the dragon. On those days, you got to slay the dragon. And if you could do it on the hardest days, on your worst days, then the regular days will be easy. So just show up.
There you go. Appreciate it. I hear that in your music that I was listening to. If you could have a conversation with your middle school self, what advice or encouragement would you give?
I would just try to instill in myself just a better love for learning. I feel like as I got older, I like to learn new things, more random stuff. I just like to learn things. But as a kid, I was playing video games and going outside playing football. And it was just like, it was a prime time to just learn as much as I can, because the more you learn, the world just opens up to you, so just always be down to read more or learn more or dive into things you wouldn't usually dive into, because you don't know when later in life that'll come into play. So just learn as much as you can.
Yep, without a doubt. I think a lot of times, again, as adults, we wish we would have been learning a lot more, wish we would have known what we know now. It's part of the growing up of life, but those words resonate. Mr. Raj, last question. Is there a specific subject, moment, or person from your middle school life that helped shape who you are today?
Yeah, yeah. I had a teacher in 6th grade. His name was Mr. Murray. He was an English teacher, and he noticed that I liked to rap and rhyme words. So he bought me this little like I use it as a rhyme book, but it was a little notebook. And he was one of the first people to kind of put me on to Langston Hughes. And he was like, "You should look into Langston Hughes. You should look into Maya Angelou." At a young age, before I even knew really what they were talking about, you know. But he kind of opened my eyes to a different side of, because when I thought of poetry, I just thought of rap, you know. But he opened my mind to like real poetry. So Mr. Murray was a big one for me.
Yep. And for the young people, as I said, and as Mr. Raj has been speaking about poetry and rap, and you know, go on YouTube, listen to his music, definitely inspiring, and seeing the connections between real life, not just the fantasy life, real life, real
Right.
stuff, real scenarios, and especially, again, being a kid here in the Bay Area. And with that, I'm going to turn it out either Miss Umat, Mr. Jackson, or Miss Wright Davis. Do either of you all want to call on some of your kids for questions? And then, or if they want to write in the chat, I don't know if I saw some folks bringing up questions in the chat room as well, but we'll start off with the students, if anyone want to jump on.
I believe there was one question in the chat from one of our student leaders, Hiva. She wanted to know, how did you maintain or keep your time management?
Are we talking about in school? I'm not sure we're talking about when I was in school or now, but I think for me, time management has just been something I had to learn. You know, it's a balance that you learn, you know. So I think it depends on, you know, what aspect I was in my life, but now it's just kind of like learning to, you know, time manage and learning not to overgive yourself to maybe working too much, you know, because it's, even though, you know, everybody glorifies work and you're supposed to work, sometimes you can overwork yourself. You don't always want to overwork yourself. You still want to have time for family and friends to satisfy your soul, really. So I think it's just like a balance. You got to learn how to balance it.
Any other questions from our young folks? Jump on in.
We got a question in the chat from Elita. What is your creative process like? That's an excellent question.
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. I think it's either one of two things. Like, I like to collaborate with a lot of people. So if it's up to me, and it's been hard, you know, with COVID and we abiding by quarantine rules and everything, I usually like to get in the studio with different people who play different instruments, like a guitar player, a pianist, a bass player, engineer. And to me, that's the magic of music, is that when you put those people in the room and you just let them start playing, things just happen, you know. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about music, that you put people in the room and you don't know what's going to come out, and something beautiful always comes out. So that's what I usually like to do. But at this point, when it's quarantine, I just have people send me beats over, or they'll sing guitar over, and I'll just write to it. And because I record myself, I have my own studio, so I'll record it and then we'll build it back and forth through email. But if it's up to me, I like to just get everybody in the room, because I feel like the more brilliant minds you have in the room, the better the art is going to come out.
I see Devontae is asking, what kept you motivated during school?
What kept me motivated during school? I think for me, one of the biggest motivating factors was my parents, because I knew how much my education meant to my parents, and just my family in general. So it was always, even when I didn't feel like doing it, it was something that was bigger than me. You know, when you start to realize things are bigger than just you, that's a motivation. You got to look at it like people around you are looking at you. You might have little brothers, little sisters, little cousins who are looking at you, and you're a role model. So that could be motivation. So for me, it was just, you know, really my parents and people around me kept me motivated to, you know, stay on it.
There's another question in the chat from a student. What encouraged you to be on time?
Being on time was always kind of rough for me. You know, I had to really learn to be on time. And Yeah, and then I think when I really learned to be on time was when I really started playing football, because everything became very punctual. Like you would get in trouble for being late, but I think being on time was something I had to grow into, because it's something that it signals what you prioritize. Like if you're always late, it looks like you don't care about it, and I didn't want to be perceived as somebody who didn't care about what I was doing. So eventually I just learned to be on time, but it was something that I struggled with for a while, but I grew into being on time, and now I'm punctual about and on time about everything. So something I had to learn.
I see today our student leaders presented to MLK Elementary about the transition from elementary to middle school. And I see Alita, who was presenting, asking you, what's your how have your daily responsibilities changed as you've gotten older? So she's interested in hearing about what's going to be the next level for her.
I think just responsibilities outside myself, like you start to get older, and like for me right now, I'm caring for my parents a lot, so it's those type of responsibilities that are not just necessarily about you, but I think it depends also on what you're doing, because you might be going to middle school or you might be going to high school, so you'll have more responsibilities when it comes to homework or in your academics. You'll have more responsibilities if you're doing athletics or after school programs. So I think it's just, and it goes back to, what we were talking about earlier when it comes to balance. It's trying to balance all these responsibilities. I think is one of the hardest things in middle school and high school. Is trying to balance and stay on top of all these responsibilities. And I think if you can learn to do, the earlier you can learn to do that, the easier it's going to be for you, especially when you start getting to high school and college. If you've already set that groundwork of how to balance these responsibilities, then it'll be a breeze for you. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much. And students, thank you very much for your inquisitive. Ms. Wright Davis or Mr. Jackson, any last words or anything that you would like to share with the group?
I just really would like to acknowledge our students. Not everyone who we invited was able to come, but they have just been incredible. Alita has had perfect period attendance, meaning she's gone every day to every period the entire school year. She will call me on the weekend, at night, like Miss Wright Davis. The teacher didn't mark their attendance. I was there. She is like on it. Jamana, Heba, Devante, they have been doing an incredible job. Really, the circumstances being as tough as they are, they have just been showing up, taking on extra responsibilities, supporting their classmates, really serving as role models. And I'm just so proud of them and appreciate this space to acknowledge them as well as our other students. I'd like to thank Emily for all her support of our school, and Miss Manera. She's been an incredible support as well.
And with that, again, thank you, everybody. Mr. Raj and your team, again, thank you so much for presenting and showing up today. We greatly appreciate it. It means a lot to our young folks.
I have a question. I have one question. Yeah. If we continue to improve our attendance and continue to have biggest attendance, can we keep this?
Well, December's theme art just came out. It's about connections. And so you guys can definitely enter in, and we assume and hope that you will win it, and you can keep it, and we'll be right back next month.
That's what I hope to do. I mean, not just for this is cool, but it was very nice. It's just very gratifying to see our students get more engaged in school. So we really appreciate the recognition. So thank you.
Awesome. Great job, everybody. Have a safe and supportive weekend. Go out and make this world a better, or stay indoors and make this world a better place. Make it virtually. All right, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.